Hey there! Today we're tackling a problem every single coffee lover knows deep in their soul. You brew a life-changing cup one morning, and the very next day, following the exact same steps, you get disappointment. Well, we're going to put an end to that. I mean, we've all been there, haven't we? You use the same beans, same grinder, same everything, but the result is just all over the place. One day it's incredible, the next it's a sour mess. But here's the thing, it's not random. It's not bad luck. You're just brewing without a map. And that is the big idea we're going to unpack today. The secret isn't about finding some magical recipe to follow blindly. It's about learning to read the menu of coffee. Once you can do that, you can design your perfect cup on purpose every single time, because you'll finally understand the choices you're making. So what on earth does this menu even look like? Well, it's actually a map, a visual guide that literally shows you every possible flavor you can get from your coffee beans. And you know what? It's been hiding in plain sight for decades. That's right. For over 70 years, coffee pros have been using this secret weapon, really, to get consistently amazing results. And today, we're going to put that exact same tool right in your hands. And here it is, the Coffee Brewing Control Chart. Okay, I know, it looks a little science-y, a little intimidating, but trust me, just think of it as a treasure map for flavor. On the bottom, you've got extraction, and going up the side, you have strength. Land in the bottom left, your coffee is weak and kind of grassy. Go way up to the top right, it's strong, sure, but also super bitter. And see that little box in the middle labeled ideal? That's our destination for now. All right, so to use this map, we've got to learn the language. And it really just comes down to two key terms you see right there on the chart, strength and extraction. If you get these two concepts, you get everything. First up, let's talk about strength. That's our vertical, or y-axis. And it's pretty much just what it sounds like. How intense is the coffee flavor? Is it big and bold, or is it more thin and watery? The sciencey term for this is total dissolved solids, or TDS. It's basically just a measure of how much coffee stuff is actually dissolved in your water. More stuff, stronger cup. Simple as that. Okay, next up is extraction, running along the bottom, that horizontal x-axis. Now listen up, because this is the real game changer for flavor. Extraction is all about how much of the good stuff, all those tasty soluble compounds you've actually pulled out of the coffee grounds. See, you're not just getting the grounds wet, you're actively dissolving flavor. And how much you dissolve changes absolutely everything. So for decades now, the coffee world has had this golden window for extraction, somewhere between 18 and 22%. And the whole idea is that if you land inside this range, you've pulled out all the sweet, complex, delicious flavors without going too far and starting to pull out the harsh, bitter compounds that dissolve later. And you can literally taste what happens when you miss this window. If you don't extract enough, that's under extraction, your coffee tastes sour and undeveloped. That's because the first things to dissolve are the acids. But if you go too far, over extraction, it just becomes bitter, harsh, and overpowering because you're pulling out all those less desirable compounds. Okay, that's enough theory. Let's get practical. How do we actually use this map to place our order and engineer a fantastic cup of coffee right at home? It's way, way simpler than you might think. It really boils down to a simple 3-step process. First, lock in your dose. Just pick an amount of coffee to use and keep it consistent for now. Step 2, adjust your grind size. This is your main control knob for flavor. Grinding finer means more extraction, grinding coarser means less. And finally, step 3, adjust your brew ratio. That's just the amount of water you use. You can use it to fine-tune the final strength. And look, if you're wondering where to even begin, here are some really solid industry-standard starting points. For something like a drip or a pour-over, a ratio of 1 to 17, that's 1 part coffee to 17 parts water, is a great place to start. For a French press, maybe a little tighter, like 1 to 15. Just think of these as your baseline, your launch pad for experiments. So why is this chart so effective? Well, I came across this quote from a study on, get this, restaurant menu psychology, and it made everything click. It says, good design is supposed to help your customers make a decision in the easiest way possible. It's about guiding people, not bossing them around. And that is exactly what our coffee chart is doing. See that ideal box on the chart? It isn't some sacred, unbreakable rule. It's a brilliant design choice. It's a nudge. It's like when a restaurant puts a little box around the chef's special to draw your eye to it. The chart is designed to guide you towards a balanced, crowd-pleasing cup. But here's the kicker. That doesn't mean it's the only delicious thing on the menu. And that brings us to our final and maybe our most important idea. The science of taste is changing, and it's starting to show us that maybe the concept of one ideal coffee for everyone is just wrong. It really makes you wonder, right? What if your personal preference actually lives outside that perfect little box? Well, it turns out you are not alone, not by a long shot. In fact, some fascinating new research from the UC Davis Coffee Center is challenging this 70-year-old standard, and it's revealing that our tastes are way more complex than we ever thought. This research found that, broadly speaking, coffee drinkers fall into at least two different groups. The first cluster actually enjoys stronger, more intense flavors, the kind you might get from a brew that's technically a little over-extracted. But another group prefers the complete opposite, lighter, brighter, more acidic cups that the old chart might call underdeveloped. There is no single best. And that, right there, is the whole point. The goal is not to hit some universal target written in stone. The goal is to use this chart as a menu of possibilities. It's a tool that empowers you to explore, to understand what's happening in your brewer, and to design a cup of coffee that is perfect, not by some old standard, but perfect for you. So the map is officially in your hands. You can see the entire menu of flavor laid out right in front of you. There's really only one question left. Now that you can read the menu, what are you going to order?